Hi, welcome back to our channel. I'm Steph.
And I am Michelle, and this is episode 13 of our Basement Renovation One Room Challenge. And today we're going to share with you how to sew a box cushion cover with a zipper.
And we wanted to also mention that we just used our standard basic home sewing machines, no fancy equipment needed.
Yep.
So we just want to show you that you can do it too.
Before you start to make your box cushion, you'll want to gather all of your supplies, and you may find it helpful to get some of them from a furniture or upholstery supply store. That's where we purchased our cording, Dacron batting, zipper, and the foam spray adhesive. It's also a good place to look for foam, but with the size we needed, even at the furniture supply store, it was going to be over $200 for the foam alone. So we opted to go for the camping foam at Home Depot. I know it's not as good a quality, but I can always upgrade it to the more upholstery-like foam in the future. You'll first want to get your foam cut to the size you need for making a box cushion. Since we needed to make our cushion longer for our reading nook and we wanted a 6-inch deep cushion, we purchased 3 pieces of foam from the Home Depot because the camping foam came in a 72-inch long by 30-inch wide and 3-inch deep at Home Depot. So first we marked the foam to cut the additional length we needed for the sides. To cut the foam, we used our table saw. It's the first time we've used the saw to cut the foam, but it worked really well and it was quick and accurate. You can also use an electric or a serrated knife to cut your foam, which is what we've done in the past. Next, we attached the foam pieces together with the spray adhesive that's specifically made for upholstery foam. It works like contact cement. So first you'll spray both sides that you want to adhere together and wait until it's tacky. Then you'll press the sides together. Now, this is the first time we've used this spray adhesive and we were really impressed with the strength and bond. It bonded instantly and we couldn't pull it apart. In addition to adhering the pieces to the length, we also used the spray adhesive layering the 2 pieces of foam together to create that 6-inch depth. And by purchasing our foam at the Home Depot, we spent around $60 for the foam, which was a lot less than the $200 at the upholstery supply store. And finally, you'll want to cover your foam cushion with a layer of Dacron batting. I think the Dacron batting from the furniture supply is much better quality than a quilting batting that you would pick up at your local like Joann or sewing store. We simply wrapped it around our foam cushion and whip stitched it together with thread. Now somehow we did not get video of this step, but we wanted to teach you how to measure and cut fabric for your box cushion. So once you have the dimensions of your cushion, you can begin to cut your fabric for making the box cushion. For the top and bottom of your box cushion, you'll take the length and width of your cushion and add 1 inch. So for example, our cushion measures 86 by 30. So we cut 2 pieces of our striped fabric to 87 by 31. This will allow for a 1/2 inch seam allowance around the cushion. For the side or the box section, the depth of our cushion is 6 inches, so we cut strips of fabric 7 inches wide and approximately 182 inches in length. You'll also need to cut 2 pieces that are the length of your zipper and half the width of the box section plus 1. I know that's a mouthful. So for example, our box section is 7 inches wide. So half will be 3.5 plus 1. And just to be safe, we cut our pieces 72 inches, the length of the zipper, by 5. This will give us enough extra width after the zipper is sewn into place that we can just trim it to the 7-inch width that we need when it's all sewn. Now we'll go over how to make piping for a box cushion. Now certainly you can make a box cushion without piping, but we love the look with piping. Just makes it look a little bit more finished. And we even decided to make ours a contrasting color to the cushion. We purchased 3/4 of a yard of denim fabric for the piping, and it was more than enough to do both sides of our box cushion. Piping should be cut on the bias or diagonal of the fabric. This will allow for some give and stretch to the piping, which will make for a neater looking cushion. So first we cut our fabric in half on the diagonal. Next you'll place the right sides together, aligning 2 of the straight edges, then stitch together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now you'll open up the fabric and using the quilting ruler make lines every 2 inches along the length of the fabric. Next you'll want to align the first line on one side with the second line on the other side. A little bit easier to watch this than for me to explain, but this is basically going to offset it by 1 row and allow you to make a continuous bias strip of fabric when you cut it. So once you have these 2 lines pinned together, you can stitch it together, which will form a tube. And then finally, after it has been sewn, you can cut along the lines, and this will form 1 continuous strip of bias fabric for making your piping. Now you can place a zipper foot on your sewing machine and place the cording in the center of the bias strip and stitch as close as you can to the cord all the way down till you get all of the cording wrapped up in your fabric.
All right, I want to share how we're going to put the zipper in for our cushion. And first of all, you can buy zipper by the yard or the foot from upholstery supply places. And so we picked up a long zipper to the length that we wanted. We got 6 feet of zipper. And I've cut the 2 sides for the box part of our cushion. And I cut them a little wider than what I needed. I cut them to 5 inches and then I folded over about 1 inch on each side. And then as we sew this, if this is the right side of the zipper, so it would be like this, we would center that on there, stitch this here and stitch this here. So we've got our lined up pattern for our cushion and with the zipper in it. And then afterwards, I will trim it to fit the dimension of the rest of the box side of our cushion.
Once we had the zipper pinned into place, we just stitched it all down the length of that piece of fabric, and then we repeated it on the other side for the other part of the zipper.
All right, now I've got the one side stitched down for the zipper, and I'm just going to match up my pattern. I mean, this is always the back side of your cushion that you'll never see, but it'll look nicer if we match that up. So I'm just going to line it up, my thread, and we'll just stitch this side.
After the zipper pieces have been sewn, we centered the box piece on top of the stitched zipper piece, and we're just trimming off that excess that we mentioned earlier so that they are the same width.
Okay, we've laid out our top of our cushion and we've cut it to fit our cushion, plus we've added 1 inch. So we've got a 1/2 inch seam allowance on each side. And then this is our boxing right here. And we want to line up our pattern so that as this is stitched that we have a nice pattern flow around the front of the cushion. So I'm going to line that up. I've figured enough that we're going to start sewing on the front of the cushion, and so I've allowed enough boxing to come down the side and then part way across the back. This is where our zipper piece is going to come in, so we don't need it to go all the way. And then I've done the same thing on the other side. And as we put this together, we're going to layer in our piping, which we did our piping as a contrasting denim fabric. And so we're going to place that inside against the top of the cushion. Let me slide it down here. So against the top of the cushion, then we'll put our boxing piece on, line up our pattern, and then we'll start stitching right against that piping edge. And we're gonna do a 1/2 inch seam allowance.
So we've got the top part of the cushion and what do you call this?
The box.
The box. Pinned together with the piping in the middle. We've got our patterns all lined up and we're just gonna stitch that into place.
We're gonna stitch all the way down and get close to the corner, but not all the way. And if you're matching stripes, you'll wanna frequently check and make sure your pattern is still aligned. If you don't have a walking pressure foot for your sewing machine, like we did not, it's likely you'll need to pull the bottom fabric forward to keep everything aligned. So we found we needed to keep that bottom fabric taut or the stripes didn't match up.
We're getting close to the corner and we're going to go up about 1/2 inch, which is the same width as our seam. We're going to snip and then we'll do another snip on each side of that so it will help it to curve a little bit better.
To pivot the fabric easily, you'll put the sewing machine needle down, lift the pressure foot, and then pivot around the corner. And you'll pull the piping piece and align the box piece and stitch that side. And then you can repeat this on the next corner.
So this is the back side of the cushion. We've come down and stitched the box section onto this with the piping, and now we're going to stop. We're going to pull the boxing part back and stitch the piping the rest of the way across the back because we need to sew in that section where the zipper is going to go. But we want to get the piping stitched to the top piece of fabric. So I'm just going to start there. Okay, so let's flip it over so you can kind of see what we have. I've got the piping stitched from the other end that we started over to here. And what we're going to do is join the piping together now. All right, so what we want to do is take this piece of the piping and we want to cut it 3 or 4 inches down the fabric past the other edge of the piping. Okay, and then we want to open up the piping here. And we want to open it up until it meets up probably to where it's stitched. We want to go back that far. So what we want to do is we want to line these up and cut this edge of the cording so that they butt up together. Can you see that? So this one comes here. So we're going to cut this one right here. Okay. Then what we want to do is just lay this down here. And I'm going to take and fold this at an angle and lay that across, meeting up our piping edges. Pull this down over the top, and then we'll stitch all of that down, and then we've got a nice connection here for our piping. All right, we've taken our zipper section and we've pinned it in the center of the back of the top of the cushion. And these are our side boxes that we've sewn here. And I'm going to take these and fold it back like 2 to 3 inches, like that. And then we're going to place this on top. And I'm going to trim this extra fabric. All right, I actually trimmed that off a little bit more. I felt like it was probably a little bit too long. So I'm just going to fold it and fold it over the end of the zipper piece. And then I'm going to stitch this right here. We've got a fold here, and we'll show you what that's going to do when it's all put together. So. All right, so now we're just ready to sew this. Whoops, let's make sure everything's tucked in there. This will enclose the zipper. So now we're ready to just stitch this zipper piece to the back part of the top of the cushion. And we had it pinned in the center, so I've just pulled that piece all the way taut from where it was pinned, and I put a pin there, and I'll show you what it's going to create by stitching it this way as soon as we get it done. Okay, so we've stitched that whole zipper section of the box. And when we flip it over, you're going to see that we made a little tuck right here that will hide the end of the zipper when the cushion is all made. So here is our corner from the front side of the cushion. And what we want to do, here's our little clip that we made when we ran around the corner. So I want to just fold this fabric right where that corner is going to be. And I'm just going to make a little V cut. And that's going to show me where to line up the bottom part of our cushion at the corner. So I'm going to go around and do that on all four corners.
So we've got the box piece, our piping, and then this is the bottom of the cushion, and this is the front edge of the cushion. So we're going to line up the corner to this notch we cut out, and once we have that all lined up, we're actually going to start sewing a little bit farther down.
Now this is the last piece that we need to stitch together to complete this cushion cover. You'll want to just stitch around all four sides. Once you're finished, you can flip the cushion cover right side out and stuff it with your cushion. We are so glad this cushion is over. Not that we didn't think we could do it, but we had so many other projects going on to finish up this basement reveal that we just really didn't want to do it. And it would have been a ton easier if we had a walking foot and a professional machine. So we just wanted to show you that you can do it with just the basic machine as well, and it turned out really well, so we're so happy with it. So thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed learning how to make your own box cushion cover, and you can feel confident in giving it a try yourself. And as always, here at Sunnyside Design, we hope to bring your home to the sunny side of the street.